Namaste and Jai Hind. This is a very interesting conversation with people with whom I'm having a fanboy moment actually. You know, seriously, Rashi, Vikrant and of course Riddhi, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for having
We're
us.
having
It's a fanboy moment for us.
We're having a fanboy
It's a
moment.
fanboy moment for
That's
us.
very kind of you, but let me first ask you this. When this script came to you, what was your first thought?
I was scared.
Huh.
I was like, okay, should I do it? Should I not do it? Will people see it as another propaganda film? But then Ekta and I, we share a very close bond actually. We go back say 15, 16 years. So she's like, you know, it's very normal for you to feel what you're feeling because I get it. So you've read the script, now take the research material. So she provided me an equal 108, 110 page research material. And when I read that is when I thought, okay, this is a story that should be told.
But this research, you can't Google it. You don't find this when you Google it. There's a different story altogether when you search it. And clearly the research material, what you thought, you saw,
It
was
was
different.
filtered, it was narrowed down because the internet has like everything, right? So you might find like, it's a gamut of things, but our research was absolutely narrowed down to facts. अब मैं Google पे जाऊंगा तो मेरे को फिर contradictory perspectives भी मिलेंगे ही.
Contradictory nahi, in terms of facts being glossed over. The point is 59 people were burnt in a train. And it says 59 people, car sevaks largely were burnt, but what followed is the bigger story. Right. That thing is glossed. So those 59 lives don't matter. Who burned them down?
Thank you so much for saying this, sir.
So I'm just asking, because any crime is wrong, any act of violence is wrong, but you can't say, okay, this violence is discountable, but this needs to be played. Did you get that feeling? Did you get that feeling?
I did, especially after the research, after I went through the research material. And I asked myself, why did I not think about this before? I myself, I concede, and I'm really sorry, I go on national television to say this thing, I never paid attention to it. So the question that I asked, which is now a part of the film, is how many of us actually know even those, how many of us can name 3 people out of those 59? We don't even know their names. They are mere statistics. People have spoken about, I mean, world over, in fact, not just India. There have been international publications who've spoken about what happened post 27th February. Unfortunate incident, should have never happened, should never happen. And as you said, any form of violence, any form of suppression is absolutely wrong. But how can you not look at the genesis of what?
Yeah, what was the trigger?
What was the trigger?
What was the social trigger, or if you were to say that starts particular a domino effect?
And it was such an important event that actually changed our entire socio-political fabric.
Yeah, and the narrative also, the political narrative, perception building, everything changed. Yeah. When did you get to know about this?
About the incident? Or
No, did you know about the incident?
Of course I did. I lived in Delhi, and you know, news channels are always on, and everyone...
I know there is a very strong political leaning in the family also.
Yes.
And so was there a different version of accounts that you were aware of?
No, they were all versions of accounts. See, you know everything, but what is reported is what one gets to know that, oh, I heard something else, but that's not being reported, or, you know, stuff like that. I was in school, so of course, you know, you're not interested, you're like, oh, what happened, and you move on with your life, and you also don't sit really with the parents, and you know, when they are debating and arguing and
never had a chat with your uncle about it?
I never did. He was more interested always in knowing what we are doing. He was always very interested in the youth and what are you doing and how's it going, and showed a lot of interest in our lives, you know, and we always felt like, I mean, I'm going to start talking about him if I could, but...
No, true, but I'm just curious that if you had someone like him in your family, you would go to him and say, what's the truth? Tell me what happened.
No, he was all about the truth. If you're in a room with him and you just need to listen to him.
Yeah. Tons of stories.
Tons of stories.
Arun Jaitley, so yeah.
Yes, tons of stories, but I think the greatness of Arun Fufaji was that he would want to know what are you doing. So, आजकल क्या हो रहा है TV industry में, and you know, you feel like he knows everything. But you know, he's still trying to. So coming back to this, I think now when I was approached for the film, I was scared too. And my first instinct reaction was, no, I don't want to do it. And then the same thing happened. Research material was provided, and none of us were told that, you know, see, we are doing. It was not like they were trying
Who
to.
do you play?
I play an English-speaking journalist who represents, in my understanding, because I'm an artist and we have to sort of, it has to be larger than what you're saying. It's a 2.5-hour film.
Correct.
We can't say everything we wanted to. There were many things we wanted to show, but we couldn't. So I largely represent a system. That system keeps shifting as.
So did you model yourself around an individual who tends to represent a system?
No, we didn't want to. We were very clear that we're not going after anyone, or we're not wanting to show. It was not my biopic that what is her journey, and we also wanted to keep it in the focus of the film is the incident. The focus of the film is largely what the media houses and what are the different voices that are coming out of journalism, and what did they say? How did they project and portray the incident?
North of the Vindhyas, 23, 24, you're coming north of the Vindhyas into the Hindi film world. Rashi, how did this happen?
So I think I have to be extra careful about my choices. I have been so far, and this was a daring choice that I made. And I remember I was working on Talaakhon Mein Ek with Vikrant. There's another film that we've shot together which will come next year. But I remember shooting for that, and I was told that he was doing this film. And then he came to me and he said, maybe they'll come to you for the other character. The first question I asked him when he said, I'm going to do the film, was, have you lost it? That's what I asked him, as a friend, as a person who wishes him well, as a person who I can see is on the rise. I thought maybe this is not a very good decision.
Stick your hand inside a bee.
Yeah, and I was very pushy and I said, no, you're not doing this. He's like, wo to chhod, they'll come to you now for the other character. I'm like, I'm never going to do it. And he's like, wait for it. He's like, don't judge it by the cover. That's what people are doing in general with the trailer that has come out. They're judging it by what they're seeing, which is completely acceptable at this point. My reaction was similar when they came to me with the script. And I was like, I don't know, I don't think I want to do it. And he just said, just read the script, just see the material that's there, and you take your own call, independent call. I usually don't ask people around when they come to me with scripts whether or not I should do them. It's completely my decision. But this time I was scared a little. I went to my parents, I went to my friends, and what I realized was that there were so many conflicting opinions on what has happened, and nobody knew. I myself wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Till I was presented with this whole, I could call it, I don't know, like a...
As big as the script.
Yeah, as big as the script, like the research material that was provided to us with photographs, and I'm a very emotional person, so a lot of the times I don't want to see all that, right? It's not right, but I can't handle it. I get very emotional. I got very emotional. I was like, this is a story that has to be told. But keeping the emotion aside, the actor in me knew that there was going to be a social responsibility on my shoulder. And I sort of am a little known, and there will be questions asked. After I read the material, I knew I was prepared for it. And hats off to the team, hats off to Ekta, who picked it up, who had the courage to pick this up and take it to people. And I think wahan se ki Vikrant kar raha hai, Ekta back kar rahi hai, and the research material that was in front of me, I knew that this is a story that needs to be told. And it's fine, we'll jump into the fire.
Interesting, no? A thing that's happened. Why do we need so much courage to do it?
Exactly.
Because of the environment that we are living in today, sadly.
Unfortunately, that's the environment today.
Everything is left or right. There is no balanced viewpoint. There's nothing that we see from the lens of humanity. Everything is seen from a certain angle.
Here, there is not even a viewpoint. It's about facts. This is what happened.
Yes.
Right.
But people don't
there
wanna
is a
believe that.
narrative that will be stitched. Whoever wants to stitch what, but you are basing yourself on facts, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a figment of your creative imagination, right?
Absolutely.
So then why is
And
it
yet
so
you're paranoid, and yet you're sort of skeptical about wanting to go out there, tell the truth, because unfortunately there is a massive chunk within our country that will very easily at their convenience label you. And that does bother. I mean, yes, you're thick-skinned, but you're not emotionless, right? And we are sensitive people, we are actors, we deal with emotions day in, day out.
Correct.
Things do bother us.
And sometimes it's difficult to choose what to be bothered with and what not to be bothered with.
Yeah, and then it's so vitriolic,
Yeah.
it is so toxic on social media that you really want to go out there and tell a story, you want to be the voice of the common man, but then there are people who completely, knowingly, and in a very sinister manner, they sort of completely color your intent, your intention, the intention with which you actually want to go out there and tell a story.
But it's not the first time that happened with you.
I'm
with
used to
social
it
media,
now.
your posts in the past.
I'm
and,
used to it.
Your opinions in the past and your opinions currently, there seems to be a variance now. That's come about because you've been more aware, or you've been forced to change your views.
It's because I have evolved as a person with time, and I think all of us do. It would be a shame if I am not. I am not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Correct. None of us are.
None of us are. And we hope that we are not 10 years henceforth. As an actor, I travel the country, I travel the world, I read a lot. You know, I'm an actor, I don't watch a lot of movies. I read a lot, I meet a lot of people. There are things which I have come to realize, say maybe in the last 5-6 years. But having said that, one also has to understand the tweets that I have sort of probably put out in 2014-15. Most of it, and you equally know it, most of it are blown out of proportion and they are misappropriated, they are misunderstood. So there was a tweet, I know which one you're talking about. It seems like I'm talking about a political party. I'm not talking about a political party. I'm talking about the people who are rallying behind people who are accused in a rape case.
Correct.
I am not talking about your affiliation with whoever your affiliation is.
Your affiliation can change.
Yeah.
His
Correct.
point will not change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your affiliation could change, but how are you rallying behind people who are accused?
I understand. And you've been also brave enough to come back and say, listen, whatever I've said, I take back, or I have a different perspective, and that takes courage too.
Thank you.
But when you did the movie, when you were going through the scenes, when you're recreating the entire aspect, I'll come to the colonial mindset aspect and the classism aspect in a bit. But did you feel that if this was what was done, then this is a travesty? Did that weigh on you? Did you feel?
Yes, it did. I mean, I have scenes with Rashi where, I mean, you know, once you get into the film, I can't talk much about, but I did feel that, you know, if these things happened and if things went the way they did, but you know, the sad part is they still happen like that, you know. I mean, there are still people who tell you what to do, and there are agendas to be met, and there are things that you need to say in a certain way. You are saying the truth, but say it like this, you know, use this language. It's about that, na? Where do you put the comma and the full stop? So it's all in that. You could say the same sentence like 10 different ways in one breath. And yes, that was a very big revelation, a very big understanding one got when you did the film, that, oh my God. And that's why we are so, like, we are out here talking to everybody, taking all the questions, and we feel no, you know, we're not scared or anything, because we do want to talk about it, and we want our audience to know, you know, the people who have absolute, like, we are part of media. So we still know the truth, and we know how to handle ourselves. Like he said, I've evolved. I was not the same person 10 years ago. But there is a huge section of our audience that follows everything they watch like, you know, like it's the truth.
Yeah, they treat it as the truth. And the other aspect, that there is a claim that since 2014 media is not independent, before that media was independent. Does this movie change that perception?
We hope so.
Does it? No, I'm asking you. For your own individual self, did it change? Saying that perhaps it was not independent.
It was not.
It wasn't.
Perhaps it was equally influenced, or if not more influenced. I don't know. I'm asking.
In modern context, I'm sorry I'm taking this. In the modern context, this has unfortunately been the case since World War II. What Goebbels did, sending people on the war front with cameras, and I've said this earlier, my reality could be your propaganda. But as you said, that despite our different political ideologies, we can at least sit on a table and share a meal.
Correct. आज तो वो भी नहीं हो रहा.
I hope we can do that someday.
नहीं, we can do.
अच्छा वैसे वो भी नहीं हो रहा.
नहीं, आज तो normalcy में ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है. You and me may differ politically, but I respect your body of work, and I respect you as a friend and as a person, and we'll sit and share. Yes. Those were the days. Today, people will not sign you for movies. You would agree that you will be shelled out of projects, so your name will not be taken because they'll say, "अरे, इसका तो ये point of view है यार, रेंदो इसने उसके साथ काम किया तो मैं इसके साथ."
There could be a very marginal section.
True, false?
There is a marginal section. I do not deny. because political ideologies have taken forefront, but not in its entirety. And also when people are not privy to it or a part of it, they make up things in their own head. कि Bollywood mafia है, Bollywood में ये होता है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. If you're good at your job, people will hire you because they want good, responsible, profitable people to work with.
हाँ, but do they also come and say यार देखो जब तक ये प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हो कुछ भी controversial मत कर देना, कुछ भी ऐसा बोल मत देना, don't try and tweet
I
too
think
much,
we
say
say
too
to
much.
people who are already controversial. हम जैसे कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता because हम तो वैसे ही कुछ
और मैं तो
controversial
वैसे
नहीं
भी कुछ नहीं करता हूँ, अपने घर पे बैठा रहता हूँ, तो भी मेरा तो पता नहीं X पे चलता ही रहता है. Yeah.
And also I feel if you're on the side of truth, you know, whether as artists or whatever you do, there's nothing to be scared. You don't really need to be told, don't do this, don't do that. Like she said, if you're a controversial person by nature, then they're probably going to come and tell you, please, you know, calm down for these few months. But no,
But thankfully here none of us are naturally inclined towards controversy.
But I also feel as an actor, you don't need to have an opinion on everything.
Correct, that's true.
What people expect us is expect from us is कि हमें सब पता होना चाहिए and we should have an opinion on everything. What if I don't want to give my opinion? What if I am not
don't
right?
have an opinion.
What if I don't know much about whatever you're asking me and I can choose to tell you, but I'm sorry, I don't know much about it. That's not acceptable. नहीं आप अपना opinion दो. नहीं आप बोलो क्या अरे भाई, what if I'm
नहीं
not?
पता है यार.
And then they'll take it out of context and they'll start saying, oh, you know nothing about our history, you know nothing. How can you not give your opinion? That's happened to me.
राशि ने किया जवाब देने से इनकार, नहीं बोल रही है राशि.
क्यों नहीं बोल रही? अरे भाई मुझे नहीं बोलना है.
एक्टरों से
Because
तुम
मुझे
जी
नहीं
के
पता
जानना
है.
चाहते हो.
हाँ.
वो उनकी जी के टेस्ट कर रहे हो तुम, उनसे पॉलिटिकल सवाल कर रहे हो. तुम पॉलिटिशियन से पॉलिटिकल सवाल करो ना यार. तुम एक्टरों को क्यों, like she said, you know, because we are there, we are aspirational, or because our lives are out there in the open for you, we are easy targets. But थोड़ा benefit
it's
of doubt
also
तो बनता
easy
भी
targets, and you're also a good-looking ticker. Like when your name pops, people will stop
It's
at
headline,
the news channel.
headline
It's
grabbing.
headline.
Headline
People will stop
grabbing,
at the news channel. They'll want to see, oh, I love this actress. I want to know what she's.
But I genuinely want to tell people that unless you know something about whatever happened fully, you shouldn't have an opinion on it. There are a lot of people who get divided, and just because the tide is going one way, they'll start following that. You know, so I
आज
don't
यही
know
चल रहा है,
where their
आजकल यही चल रहा है तो
allegiances
यही
lie.
करो.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't
that-
know where
that's
their
also there.
allegiances.
People get influenced very easily, you know, and they get aggravated. Like everything happens very fast, and then you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute, where are you coming from? No, that one said this. I heard this. What do you think? No. You know, and then you realize.
X-Men
oh,
are
He said it himself, right? And he said it himself. Like, I have gone through it. Friends of 30 years, friends you've grown up with, they're not friends anymore.
Yeah, they're not.
Then they're not friends.
No, when
No,
see that's exactly what somebody told me. I felt very sad about this, and I was sharing this with someone. See, they were never your friends.
Yeah, they were never your friends.
So it's good that they are off your list, because you would have wasted your energies on people who are not worth it.
True.
The other thing somebody said, how do you deal with trolling? How do you deal with negativity coming your way?
See, I have not had so much of negativity in my
You
life.
just try to stay below the radar. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I
Very
just
smart.
want to work. I want people to see what I'm doing. I want to go back home. I don't want to give any unnecessary opinions. I don't want people to talk about my life. It takes away from the actor that I am, is what I feel. Because if you show too much of yourself, people will not believe the characters you're playing. You know. So I want to keep low key.
But does that limit the scope of your work? Limit the amount of projects you
No,
get? The
it
number
doesn't.
of,
It doesn't. It hasn't. It never has. Like people have always come and asked me, how are you doing 4 for 5 films a year? So there is another way.
You should just say, I'm doing one in each state.
No, but honestly, it does not impact your career. You don't have to always have an opinion on something or be in the news for whatever reasons to get films. I am that example that I have never tried to be in the news for the wrong reason except my own work. You know, so this film was tricky for me also because I knew that this will be something that will be talked about. So I had to be extra careful. कि अभी क्या हो रहा है इस फिल्म में? And I was, and I know the makers were, and that's why I believe in this film.
So are you consciously picking some very quote-unquote real scripts in the Hindi film industry while you're doing a lot of commercial, dark, you know,
I love
masala,
films in
south of the
general. I
India?
love films.
So is this like a
I
curated plan? कि
I've
भाई
never
यहाँ ये
planned.
projection है,
No,
यहाँ ये projection.
I have never planned anything because whatever I may have planned has never happened. You know, I cannot, like, if they want to put me in a commercial film, I'm very happy to be doing that. But there are people who take me in a film like the Sabarmati Report, right, where there's no glamour. which is great, which works for me. So I've never really planned ki, see, all of us want to do both, but I've not planned ki I want to do this here and that there.
So did you visit newsrooms? Did you learn how to handle a P2?
Yeah.
And all of that?
Yeah.
Did you what, shadow a VJ? And
No,
all? What did you do?
I mean,
yeah, they have बहुत सारे VJs हैं. They'll all want to know.
yeah, we've seen it on
While acting,
TV,
because
of
we
course.
meet reporters
But as
and
an
journalists.
actor, you know, like I did meet there were a couple of people in the production team who've previously worked in news channels, who've been beat reporters, who know how it works. तो वहाँ पे फिर मैंने कैमरा पकड़ना, फिर साथ में फोकस भी करना, जूम आउट भी करना, वो सब सीखा मैंने. Because of technicalities, you have to get it right. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So my character actually has a journey from an entertainment beat reporter to a prime time news anchor. It's a 10-year journey.
10-year journey.
Yeah.
So but 10 years did you also change? I'll come to that part. But ये पता है उस वक्त तो live units नहीं होते थे. You couldn't go live.
Yeah.
So a lot of the movies, what happens is because we know the real story.
Right.
Yeah.
So वो कैमरा है पीछे कुछ है नहीं unit to beam broadcast. Live कैसे जा रहा है? You can't go live. You have to record. You got to then
Yes,
feed the
upload
tape,
it, yeah.
upload it, edit it, and all of that. So a lot of the movies did that. Did you guys do that here this time around? That you're going live but you don't have
नहीं
anything?
हम लाइव नहीं जा रहे. हमने वही मैं कह रहा हूँ, बहुत रिसर्च की है हमने प्रॉपरली, you know, we know कि
Tape
So
जाते
trailer में मैंने एक वो
tape
shot देखा
tape
that
जाती,
where your character is running with this one with the camera running in that action. मैंने बोला, let's see अब ये मूवी में देखोगे कि ये लाइव कर रहा है क्या कर रहा
लाइव
है.
नहीं, वो
Live
तभी
tape,
टेप होता था, वो
tape
टेप
चाहिए.
आपको डिलीवर करना होता था.
There is a dialogue also जिसमें बोल दिया है tape.
टेप आपको डिलीवर करना है बस, वो है. तो टेक्निकली वी आर प्रीटी साउंड इन दिस केस.
But are you guilty of being classist? No, in the sense where that entire aspect कि अगर अंग्रेजी नहीं बोल सकता तो दिमाग नहीं है.
I am.
हाँ.
Because it's social conditioning. This is what we were taught in schools. कि अगर आपको English नहीं आती, there were fines for kids. And I was that monitor. What? Yeah. तो हमारे स्कूल में क्या होता था? It's an English speaking school. तो वहाँ पे मॉनिटर्स रखे जाते थे कि जो भी हिंदी में बात कर रहा है उसको फाइन लगाओ.
फाइन लगाओ. हाँ.
Yeah,
Because ये
and I
English
was the
medium
monitor.
school है यहाँ हिंदी में कैसे बोल
And there are friends of mine who are like, we hated you because हमें English नहीं आती थी और तू हमसे 5-5 रुपए लेती थी. So I am guilty of it. But the thing is, I was innocent. I didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know.
You didn't know better.
I didn't know better. For a very long time, I didn't know.
And how sad that a young kid was
Yeah,
being.
because it's social conditioning. You are taught from a very young age that English is more superior than Hindi can ever be. And this is what you need to thrive in the world. And sadly, it is true. It is true because even today, English is given more importance than Hindi. And I think in a lot of ways, this film was an eye-opener to me as well. And I knew I wasn't doing it consciously at all. But now I have to consciously protect my own language. अब मैं सीख रही हूँ अपनी भाषा. अब मैं सीख रही हूँ विक्रांत से जब वो बात करते हैं. And you know, it's a fact.
You are from Delhi and you do movies in the south. I'm from the south and I anchor both in Hindi and in English.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, hats off to you,
Well done,
but I also somewhere knew कि South में जब हम काम करते हैं,
हाँ.
they are very proud of their language.
Yeah.
They are very proud of their culture. They don't care about English. But I grew up in Delhi, so I know that the environment there is such कि जो हिंदी बोलते हैं उनको साइड कर दिया जाता है, उनको जज कर दिया जाता है कि आप में दिमाग ही नहीं है. और जिनको इंग्लिश and I'm not talking about everybody. I'm saying there's a
Yeah, it's a
majority.
general perception.
There is a majority. There is a South Delhi, North Delhi sort of divide कि ये ऐसे होते हैं, North में ऐसे होते हैं. I mean, a lot of places it's a North-South divide as well.
वो मुंबई में है.
हाँ.
मुंबई में है.
Townies and the...
Yeah.
No, also I have, you know, with the promotion, I'm getting to say something that I was actually thinking I'm going to write a letter to Honorable Prime Minister, which is the whole education system. You know, like she's saying that her school was an English medium school, so she had to collect fine. I'm surprised at this. I have a big problem with the IB schools, yeah. I feel like fine, our CBSEs and ICSEs may have their problems and we should fix them, but everyone, all the new parents now seem to be thinking IB is the only way to go. Yeah. And I have a big problem with that because they don't celebrate Indianness, they don't celebrate our culture at all.
Festivals.
They don't celebrate our festivals, they don't, there's no cultural, like I feel like all these kids who are going to these schools right now, it's so popular, they're all going to grow up and they're going to be like everyone else and we will lose our authenticity that we have as Indians.
True.
you know. And
True,
wanna
but the
come
fact...
back to-
so I'm the
yeah.
opposite of classist and
I think-
elitist. I'm not a parent, but I've had these conversations with a lot of parents, and they always shut me up and say that you don't know, you know. But I
No,
feel
it's
like-
because those parents have already decided they want to send their children abroad.
exactly.
Okay,
fair
so,
enough.
somewhere it
And
is.
fair enough.
But
That's great.
it's got to be the ability of the child. Now, it's not that CBSE पढ़ के ICSE पढ़ के हम
नहीं
हमारे-
जा सकते।
नहीं जा सकते, जा सकते हैं. But the point is this whole cultural orientation.
Yes.
There has been a weaning off over successive generations. Whatever our background. Now today, imagine we are having a conversation that Sanatan and Sikhi have got no connection altogether. There is a narrative being pushed that Sikhi has got nothing to do with Sanatan or Hindu. But you go back to our history, it all originated from there.
Yes.
So, but this weaning off is happening. So it's a reality all around us.
Yeah.
So coming back to
Yeah.
this, I would just like to add that we don't have a problem with English.
Yeah.
आपको आती है बहुत अच्छी बात है.
It is a global, it is a
No,
global
but a
language.
person's
But don't
intelligence and ability cannot
Yeah.
be
Cannot
judged
be.
based on the language they
language.
can or cannot speak.
But
And
that's a
that
huge
pride
problem.
we need to have within ourselves, and for that these conversations are very essential, and our film is very
नहीं,
essential.
but that's why I also feel that हमारी generation में ना ये problem लगती ही नहीं है. That's the problem. For a very long time we've been ignorant of this fact.
कि हम
We are like-
realize ही नहीं करते हैं ये
हाँ,
problem
हम
है.
realize ही नहीं करते हैं. And वो तो मतलब इनकी फिल्म जब 12th फेल आई वो there's an impactful scene there where you see अरे हाँ you know you need, that's why cinema is so important. You need to be able to open the eyes of the people. मेरी खुद की आंखें खुली है यार. मुझे अपनी हिंदी अच्छी करनी है. And I wasn't aware.
No, but पर भाई ये रियल कैरेक्टर्स प्ले करने का कहाँ से आया आइडिया? ये आप लोग
He looks so real. Honestly.
एक तो रियल कैरेक्टर 12th फेल हो या हसीन दिलरुबा हो लाइक यू नो दिस यू ब्रिंग आउट अ सर्टेन रॉनेस एंड ये सड़क पे जो नॉर्मल पीपल जिस तरह से बिहेव वो आप लेके आए हैं जी वो ये इनसाइट है या किसी ने बोला यही करो विक्रांत यहीं से पिक्चर लीड रोल्स मिलेंगी
It is something that comes from within. Even when I did TV,
हाँ
I did a show called Balika Vadhu.
हाँ हाँ
I actually didn't do anything different back then. I still did the same thing.
Correct.
My
I
idea.
remember you from Balika Vadhu.
Thank you, sir. My idea is, and now, and I completely, you know, I feel blessed. I recognize this privilege that I have. I only wanted to act. And as time went on, as opportunities came by, and when I saw the love that's sort of been poured upon me, I realized that it is much more than what I actually asked for. So once a year or maybe more, I really want to go out there and be the voice of the voiceless and represent the common man. So whether it is a 12th fail, whether it is a Sector 36, or whether it is
Yeah,
the
Sector
Sabarmati
36,
report,
yeah.
I want to sort of bring my own experiences or things that a lot of people unfortunately are not aware of or heard of or seen to cinema screens, because cinema is such an influential medium. It's always
But are you getting such scripts? Are filmmakers willing to do that with you?
You have to wait for Talaqo Mein Ek that we are in. I'm a fan of Vikrant. Like I know nothing to do with him as a friend. I can bully him all I want. He can bully me as much as he wants. But when it comes to acting and the craft that he hones, when you see it, you are blown.
बट भाई ये सब कैरेक्टर्स में डांस करने का कहाँ चांस मिलता है?
सर मैंने
डांस
किया
करते
डांस।
शौक है ना?
मैंने बहुत डांस किया सर. I was an assistant instructor with Shamak.
I know.
After Makbul actually changed my worldview towards cinema. I was in National College Bandra, and Gaiety Galaxy is right behind my college.
Correct.
I went and I saw Makbul. Mind was blown. Next day, I'm just sitting in my BST bus going to college, and I'm just thinking about those eyes. I'm like, ये आँखें क्या हैं? I'm like, ये आँखें क्या हैं? मैंने ऐसी आँखें नहीं देखी कभी. And I'm sleepwalking, and then I'm like कि मैं college से जाके I pass through my college and I go to Gaiety Galaxy again. And that is when I decided that this is the kind of cinema I want to do. This is the kind of acting I want to do, because times are changing.
Yeah.
The kind of cinema or stories people want to see or hear are changing.
Does commercial success of a movie bother you? Whether it does well or not?
Not
I've
anymore.
not done enough this question.
Not anymore.
No, for you also movies which are big, even if you're playing small characters, bit roles, sometimes it brings you into prominence. There's more work that comes your way. So for you, at least you've seen the ups and downs between 2021 and 24. You had a few
I've
movies
had
that
ups
were
and
did
downs
well.
from the time
No, but
I
I'm just saying in the
started.
recent past, some big releases that didn't do well, some releases that did well. So I'm just.
Some releases, see, firstly, as a person, I detach myself from the result of the films. Having said that,
हाँ अपना चेक आ गया अपना पैसा मिल गया खत्म
no, it's not about the money, yeah. It's not about the money. It's you choose your battles in life, right? That's not my battle to fight. The commercial success of a film is not really in our hand as an actor. We choose some films. We think, okay, chalo karenge. It might or might not work. You have to be ready with whatever the verdict is. But commercial success does matter because it helps you get more films that I'll not take away.
Yeah,
It does.
correct. Of course it does.
If you have a string of flops, maybe people will not want to work with you because they'll think you're not bankable enough.
Not just bankable. They say, did the movie flop because she was in it or he was in it? You know, you say,
There is
"Man."
there is
I
that
feel
notion.
female actors are targeted a little more that way. कि ये है इसकी देखो इसकी 4 फिल्में flop हुई इसको नहीं लेंगे. It has nothing to do with talent.
Yeah,
You know. So
It's about-
when
it's-
you're successful,
Yeah.
you're considered talented anyway.
correct.
That's a very very interesting thing. You know. you
So
said
your
this.
basically success is important, commercial success. But as an actor, I don't attach myself to it.
Do you have gut feelings about certain projects?
Yes. But I also want to add something to
please.
this. It is important that a film does commercially well because it is a very expensive business. Making a movie is an expensive proposition, and you are eventually making a movie at the expense of somebody.
Yeah.
So you have to be cognizant of the fact that whoever he or she is should get their monies back. They should not undergo losses. Yes, there are music rights, satellite rights, digital rights, X, Y, Z, वो सब है. But whoever is putting in their hard-earned money, at least should not undergo losses. यार.
Losses.
Loss नहीं होना चाहिए.
So what did Ekta Kapoor tell you when you asked her, तुम क्यों कर रही हो picture? Why are you making this?
She didn't care. She didn't care.
She didn't
about
care.
the commercial
She is
success.
She didn't
No,
care.
that's a different point, but she will also matter. Success will matter or a certain level of.
Of
Why
course.
did she want to do the movie?
Sorry?
Why did she want to make this movie?
Because she feels.
Had she been here, I would have asked her. So
She feels.
I'm sure
if
you
I
would have
may
asked her
speak-
that.
If
So
I
I'm
may
asking
speak
you.
for
She
her,
would say, why not?
Why
she
not?
feels equally strongly about the misinformation that surrounded this event.
She's also a storyteller. You know, she is a big businesswoman and she has a business mind. She's also a storyteller at heart. So there are, and she is passionate about.
तो आप लोगों ने नहीं बोला किसी ने उनको नहीं बोला कंट्रोवर्सी होगी क्यों पंगे ले रहे हो व्हाई आर यू शेयर की गुफा में
of
क्यों हाथ
course.
डाल रहे हो
All
But
of
सिर्फ
us
ये
had
सब
those
होगा तो
doubts.
फिर कौन करेगा? कौन बात करेगा? सब डर जाएंगे तो फिर कौन?
We
आगे
all
बढ़ेगा?
had those doubts. That's why the research was so essential.
There's a quote that I've been saying: "If not us, then who? If not now, then when?"
then when if not us then who if not
Somebody has to go out there and tell these stories, right? When for Sector 36, you know, when I went on my roundups with interviews, people are like, why do you want to talk about, you know, a cannibal? Why do you want to, and unfortunately at that point in time, the RG case was
yeah going on
then came Badlapur. तब लोगों ने मुझे ये बोला कि अच्छा आप ये फिल्म इसीलिए रिलीज कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारे देश में ये
हाँ अभी भी तो
ऐसे
आपको
मैंने
ये
4 दिन पहले शूट करके एडिट किया
नहीं अभी भी तो आप 20 तारीख को चुनाव है इसीलिए तो 15 को
इसीलिए
release
तो
कर
15 को आ रहे हैं पर क्या कर सकते हैं बट यू नो somebody has to go out there and tell these stories.
Can they push their election dates like we have been pushing?
And you know even why I want
in
to
our
sort of
hands.
speak about Sector 36
Yeah,
also
yeah.
is कि it is so weird for people to ask these things. All of us remember what happened in December years ago, 12, 13
yeah
years
2012
ago. All of us know what happened. We were all out on those streets.
correct
God bless.
bless.
How much of it has changed? How much of it has changed? Unfortunately, it is still the same. But as storytellers, you can't go out there and tell stories because people will see you a certain way. I mean, come on.
yeah but the point is there an audience and is there an appetite for these kind of stories
Of course there is.
we'll conclude after final 2-3 questions
Of course, I think the audiences have changed. The way I changed in 2003, people have changed now as well, and they will continue to change. Because of digitization, the exposure that we have to international cinema has really changed the way we see films. Why do Hollywood films dubbed in regional languages make so much of money here?
correct no, not just that regional cinema dubbed in Hindi
Dubbed in
is
Hindi.
doing so much
Yeah.
And vice versa. I mean,
so much better so
The-
what next
there
for
are
you
all the lines have blurred is what I want to say.
what next for you and what's your favorite scene from the movie
Favorite scene from the movie for me, I think, would be every scene where I'm firing people, which is too much fun. I'm also getting to live the dream now of being a journalist, because I've worked in a channel,
Yes,
and I've
yes.
seen what happens, the hustle bustle before I became an actor. So for me, I also got to relive all of that. So it was a lot of fun to be in your position.
How easy or difficult was you to for you to get accustomed to a newsroom? This is a very different newsroom because it's an open studio. You can
Right.
hear all the noise at the background.
Right.
But
So I did have that was my first sort of.
did
That's
you
what I
walk into
first
any
saw.
news channel and say कि 2-4 दिन हमें shadow करने तो देखने तो हो क्या
But
रहा
I
है?
did that when I was working, before I was an actor. I was very much part of news channels, and I knew exactly how newsrooms work and editing rooms and everything. Tapes kahan hoti. I told these people so much. Tapes go into a library at that time. It was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like this.
Yeah,
and
we
it is
still have a
not
library, but
easy.
it's digitized now.
It's
Yeah.
digitized,
Yeah.
and it's not so easy to get those tapes out, and it's freezing cold. So like there were just so many things that I knew of because I had been working in a channel. So that was a fun part to get to play something.
Were you tempted to model yourself around someone?
I was not tempted at all to model myself. No, I was not,
The
because
journalists behave in a
then
certain
I would
manner.
have wanted
you
a
know,
biopic.
they have certain mannerisms.
Then I would have
There are
wanted a
certain similar
biopic,
quirks,
yeah.
हाँ, मतलब ये
Yeah,
मुझे
yeah.
लगता है कुछ quirks तो होते हैं.
हाँ, जैसे
अभी जैसे मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हिंदी स्पीकिंग जर्नलिस्ट जो होते हैं ना वो उनका ना एक पिच है वो सबका पिच सेम होता है.
We maintained the.
Maybe it is because you're addressing the audiences, but जब वो बात कर रहे होते हैं ना और जो उनका एक सिंग सॉन्ग टोन है ना वो सेम है मुझे लगता है सबका.
सबका सेम है नहीं सबका सेम नहीं है पिच
Most of them.
पिच में होता है
Style.
पिच में क्योंकि आप लाइव कर रहे हैं
हाँ
आपका आप लाइव कर रहे हैं तो आपको थ्रो करना पड़ेगा आपको एक ऑडियंस को उतना ही एनर्जी आपको निकालना पड़ेगा तो आप व्हेन यू आर इन फ्रंट ऑफ द स्क्रीन यू विल बी एट 120-150%.
Right.
आपका क्या है डबिंग में होता है ना तो आपको बॉडी बढ़ा देना
नहीं,
होगा,
अभी
voice
dubbing नहीं होता
हाँ,
सर,
dubbing
अभी नहीं होता है
Sing
dubbing.
sound
Sing
होता
sound,
है.
सब sing
हाँ,
sound.
most
dubbing.
of it is sing sound.
90% of
Like what नहीं not sub चलो ठीक है थोड़ा सा एक्यूरेसी में अगर बात करें तो मोस्ट ऑफ देम
हाँ, है.
नमस्कार में
हाँ. क्योंकि आपको उस
Good
एनर्जी में
evening,
स्टार्ट
ladies
करना
and
है
gentlemen.
हाय हाय हाँ
मतलब
नमस्कार
Sorry, you were saying I jumped in
it's
between.
No, no,
It's fine, it's fine.
quirks होते हैं आप. So you picked up some of
We
them.
did. We had to. If we didn't do that, then you would not relate us to
Were
the
you tempted to
reality.
become a little caricaturist? यार,
No, no.
वो इनमें से कुछ हैं कुछ जो characters हैं caricaturist हैं तो जरा उनकी तरह
This is not the story
of us are
that
caricature.
kind of world.
Actually, वही नहीं करना था. When you asked me if you modeled yourself on someone, we would look caricaturish because that's what I'm saying. That if I have to model myself on someone, it has to be a biopic. You can't just come in for few scenes and just because that would look like a caricature version of someone.
What's your favorite scene?
So many.
The climax of the movie.
Yeah, same.
It's the climax of the movie. Yeah. It's the rounding up of everything.
It's true actually.
So 10 years down the line, when you moved from nowhere to somewhere, that entire journey, does that date of 27th February 2002 still rankle in the character?
In the character, you should watch the film.
Yes.
That is exactly what we talk about. How? I think you should go and see it. Yeah.
So you're making it interesting for you.
I told you the climax scene.
Climax scene.
Yes.
So why for you the climax scene?
It's a
We
high
both are
point.
part of it
We
also
both are part
actually.
of it.
Yeah.
हाँ.
Yes, and it's a culmination of our characters as well, and the story. So that's why it's special.
It's very powerful.
There's also one scene where we sort of recreated the whole burnt train.
Yeah.
And we go inside, and that was an emotional scene. It's also one of the very important scenes in our film, and it is my favorite because, as I said, I'm an emotional person, and it ignited a lot of emotions in me. कि इंसानियत के नाते कोई किसी के साथ ऐसा कैसे कर सकता है, so this film has been a learning for me
Right.
as a person. I've grown as a human being.
Fantastic, amazing conversation. We can keep going on, but we run out
Yeah,
of time. I've been asked to wind up thrice, but
People are going to come here now to stop us.
push the thing. So before we finish, and as I say thank you, I want a picture with all of you.
Yes,
I want a picture with you.
We want
Can I have a
a
solo
picture.
picture with you?
I'm gonna come there and then I'm gonna get all of you. Thank you, all
Thank
the
you,
very, very
thank you,
best. The
thank
film
you.
releases on the 15th. You must watch this. It's a story, very compelling story, and I think if you've done your job right, I think it'll be worth sitting those minutes and those hours inside the theatre hall and watch it in the big parda, please. Thank you,
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you so much.